Hey guys, this is a spur of the moment live narration. This match was supposed to happen 6 hours ago, over 6 hours ago, but Charm Flash, Meowdo, missed the time and I guess he fell asleep. And now here we are playing the match at what is past 4 in the morning, Charm Flash's time. Now, granted, he did just wake up, so in theory, he shouldn't be, super exhausted. It's not like he's been out all day or he's been drinking or whatever. But at the same time, I mean, it's fucking 4 a.m., man, so I have no idea what we're going to get here. This is CALLOUS Invitational play-in content, and we've got a turn 1 miss on a Megahorn, followed up by a Psychic, so pretty good turn for Charm Flash. That's Meowdo here. His opponent, of course, is Sadlysius. This is the second round of play-ins on this side of the bracket. The winner here, in this best of 3, of course, is going to fight against Bad Dummy for a spot to play directly into the tournament. So this is happening live, as you guys can see. I obviously haven't seen these games. This is not a replay. This is all happening before my very eyes, just as it is for you guys. Because of that, there is a bit of a delay. Somebody right now, or both of them, is thinking about what to do. Turn 1 Megahorn misses crappy, but that's, yeah, just kind of how it goes sometimes. It's a competitive match. If it were friendly, if you were just trying to maybe test out how a specific matchup goes, maybe you give them a redo there, but in a competitive situation like this, you don't. You take whatever hacks you can get. It looks like it's just going to be a trade. I mean, mixed meta, right? It's got Psychic and HP Fire. Usually the other two moves are Meteor. I mean, it's got to have Meteor Mash. Every Metagross is Meteor Mash, but usually the last move is Boom. So I believe it's going to not have Earthquake, and that should mean that... Yeah, I mean, he doesn't even get a chance to counterattack, but that should mean that even if the Metagross were to live there, which he's very unlikely to do, that the Metagross wouldn't be able to one-hit KO the Magneton anyway without a critical hit. So there's the revenge kill via the trap. We've got a very quick, just turn 3, 5-5 situation. Charm Flash has revealed nothing other than what's already been KO'd. And Sadlysius just has the Magneton, which, well, Charm Flash clearly doesn't have a Dugtrio, right? That would already be in play if he had it, so I think we could rule that Pokemon out. I mean, unless he's taking his time trying to sip some coffee and wake up or whatever. I have no idea how awake he is right now. Like I said, it's like 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. where he is. I'm surprised he asked to play at this time, but hey, if he's cool with it, I'm cool with it. I have no issue with it here. Battle timer turned on by Charm Flash. I'm a little bit surprised by that, because, I mean, it's clearly him we're waiting on, right? I mean, Sadly doesn't have a decision to make here. It's on Charm Flash of what Pokemon do I send out. And like I said, we can definitively rule out a Dugtrio, because that would have just come down automatically. The poke turns out to be Jolteon, and Substitute going to block Thunder Wave here. Kind of surprised that Sadlysius went for that. I felt like Sub was just the obvious first move there. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised he went T-Wave there. I'm not sure what he thought Jolteon was going to do that would have made that the right play. You think he went to Jolteon just to BP out of it? I guess that's what he was trying to play around. But, I mean, Jolteon wasn't just going to come in and Thunderbolt there. That's awful. And he wasn't going to HP Grass or HP Ice there. I highly doubt he wishes there. I don't see a lot of point. He could Roar, I guess. But, again, there has to be a better follow-up play to the Metagross Magneton sequence than just roaring there with no spikes. I mean, yeah, you see another poke maybe, but that just doesn't seem that good. I feel like Substitute there is just really obvious, and I really question the Thunder Wave there from Sadlysius. I think that was a mistake. There is great upside to it if it landed, obviously. I mean, Jolteon is so reliant on its speed. It's not exactly bulky by any stretch of the imagination, so if he had landed the Thunder Wave there on the Jolteon, I mean, that's a blowout, right? If he Thunder Waves and the Jolteon just goes for Roar or goes like Wish and then gets hit with the Thunder Wave, that would have been really good, but those things just don't seem realistic to me. I don't even, at first I think I said I don't like the play, but I'm going to just go a little further and say that I think it's actually just a mistake. We'll see if it ends up mattering here. So Thunderbolt Hidden Power is the exchange here. 42% is a pretty nice Thunderbolt. The Hidden Power, we don't know what it did. We know it did at least 25% to remove the sub, but it doesn't tell us anything beyond that. Mind games begin here of, do you sub again? Do you try T-waving again? Obviously, if Jolteon goes sub and he just gets hit with a hidden power, that's not all that good. So, Sadlysius is actually out-predicted here. He could have stayed in, taken that Thunderbolt, and he could have gotten the Thunder Wave off in return, which actually would have really crippled the Jolteon. So it's going to be Charm Flash with a better couple of turns here. I didn't like the first Thunder Wave, and right there, I mean, it's not clear-cut the way that you shouldn't do the first Thunder Wave was, but he had kind of a mind game situation there where a decision had to be made, and he did not make the right decision in that instance. So Charm Flash outmaneuvering Sadlysius here in the early portion of the game. So Celebi's paralyzed here. He gets out of the way, goes to a Metagross. There's Curse from the Lax. No idea what the meta does. It just came in for the first time. Could be Choice Banded, could be Mixed, could be Agilagross. Most Metagross, not every single one, but most Metagross have Boom. So obviously Lax has to be aware of that. But I mean, the default play here is probably just Meteor Mash, unless your team is so ridiculously Lax weak that you just Boom here. He does just go Mash. He gets unlucky with a miss. Gonna be met with a Fire Blast in return. And not gaining leftovers. That could be a Choice Band Mash. If that's the case, then Charm Flash has to respect that here. Even with the +1, the +1 for the Lax, that is, the Meteor Mash would do a lot because it's essentially also +1 because of a possible Choice Band. Now, granted, it might not be. It could be like a substitute Lychee Berry set, while another Meteor Mash miss. That's quite unlucky. Body Slam, at least for his sake, doesn't para. Now we've got a mind game on this turn because now the Boom is just so obvious. So basically, Charm Flash has to decide, is he going to let the Lax take it? And then Sadlysius could make the next level play and be like, hey, I'm not booming. Go to your Gengar. I'm going to fucking Meteor Mash it. Sadlysius might not even have the option to boom. Yeah, I was going to say, because it might be Choice Banded, so he might not even have the choice to boom here, even if he wants to. It certainly looks Choice Banded. 56%, he's going to save the meta for later, which I definitely agree with. I think it still has value. You can get it in when the Lax comes in. You can explode on something. You could still mash on something. I would not have just stayed in with meta there. I agree with Sadlysius' play in that instance. BP to Lax. Celebi Swords dances up. That's obviously meant to be Baton Pass somewhere. I don't know that the meta's the ideal target for it in this situation. And he goes T-Tar instead. Lax goes for Curse behind the sub. What T-Tar would really like to have here is probably just Roar, I think. But no, he's going to go blow for blow. So Tar's at +2 attack. Lax is at +2 attack and defense. Whether or not he has a move that actually touches the tower, we don't know. We've seen Body Slam, Curse, Fire Blast. We don't know the last move. It could definitely be EQ or Boom. But no, he goes Body Slam again. That's at +2, which is why it did so much. T-Tar dances up here, so he's at +3, +1. Now goes Rock Slide. Big damage, 43%. Body Slam gets off anyway, but Paras have not come. Here's another Rock Slide attempt looking for a crit or a flinch. Gets neither. Body Slam gets off. T-Tar goes down. The lead again belongs to Charm Flash. Now Metagross in. Needs to be a little more accurate with his Meteor Mashes here, if that is in fact the way that he opts to go. Could have just gone Earthquake there. He does go for the mash. It connects this time after missing a couple earlier. And we've got ourselves a 4-4 game. Sadlysius with one unrevealed poke. 3 of them for Charm Flash. And both the Metagross and I believe the Jolteon, yep, 26%, are low. I think everything else is relatively healthy. Magneton's at 50-something. Yeah, 58. And then Celebi, I think, is at 100. Yeah. So we have 2 unhealthy pokes on each side, and then everything else is pretty much healthy. Magneton's kind of in the middle. It's not healthy or unhealthy, but it's okay. Charm Flash the one now, using up the clock. Figuring out what to send in here. Plenty of time on the timer. It just showed me that he's got 180 seconds, so just 3 minutes left. So plenty of time to make this decision. Being very careful, being very calculated here. This game does not look like the kind of game that's going to last 100 turns or whatever. It's offensive teams from both guys, so it's going to be decided probably relatively soon. So both of them trying to be very calculated, make the best plays they can make. Jolteon here is what Charm Flash decides on. Sadlysius' Metagross will not live a Thunderbolt here, but of course there's always the will he go for Thunderbolt? What if he just Baton Passes? What if he goes Hidden Power? Porygon 2 comes in tracing Volt Absorb, and wisely, I like that play from Charm Flash. Very smart, because switching out of the Thunderbolt there is so obvious. I think BP is a great play, because now he gets the tempo of switching in whatever he wants based on what Sadlysius does. So he's now going to get to respond to the Porygon 2 in any way that he sees fit, and he's going to gain the tempo advantage by doing that. So I think that was a really intelligent play by Charm Flash. I definitely agree with what he did. And that is going to be the second time that Sadlysius is going to go for a status move into a substitute. Not as obvious this time as it was last time. A lot of T-Towers don't have it, but man, this just took a turn for the worst. Not only is the status effect blocked, but he does not even pop the substitute. He will the second time, but he's going to lose the Porygon 2 to do it. Sub-Focus Punch Tower takes that right out, and Charm Flash clearly ahead now. Not only does he have 2 unrevealed that Sadlysius doesn't know about, now granted, based on what he's already seen, he could probably take a guess at what they are, but he's just flat out down a poke, and Charm Flash, I think, is controlling the tempo as well. Decides not to let the tower take a Meteor Mash, but as it turns out, nothing's going to take a Meteor Mash, because again, the Meteor Mash for the third time is going to miss for Sadlysius. It does not help. I mean, I think Charm Flash has played better this game of the two, but it definitely doesn't help that Sadlysius has gotten some bad luck. 3 Meteor Mash misses is pretty crappy and pretty unlikely, and that is the way that it's happened so far. He gets a Thunder Wave off. It's just going to insta-trade with Boom. We're now in a 2-3 situation. Still don't know the last poke for Charm Flash, though I suspect it is Aerodactyl. I don't think he shows that here. Celebi, or Gengar. I mean, it was going to be one of those two. For sure. Those are the only two that I had in mind. It is Gengar. It's going to be a third Pokemon with Substitute. Swords Dance comes down. Celebi might actually have Shadow Ball here. Sometimes this set has either Shadow Ball or like HP Fighting. Yeah, see, he does have Shadow Ball to actually fight for himself. The question now becomes, can he live another Ice Punch? He certainly can't live an Ice Punch plus Sand, but he might live the Ice Punch, and he does, and that's going to let him take the Gengar down with him. So now it's going to be just the Metagross, and that's not going to suffice. It's going to be game 1 for Charm Flash, because the Thunderbolt will be enough to KO here. The Metagross would have been faster than the T-Tower and would have killed it with a crit Meteor Mash, but there's no way around the Jolteon, and that is going to be the game 1 victory for Charm Flash. I'm going to cut the video pretty quickly here, because they might start the next game sooner rather than later. Don't want to miss anything. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and Game 2 will be coming up next.